Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're back for the second episode of SteamLUG Cast. With me, we have John and Swordfisher, and my name is Cheese. Hey, guys.
Hey, Cheese.
Hello.
So this week, we're going to try and keep things a little bit shorter than last week.
Yeah, that really certainly ran over, didn't it?
So we might just have some very, very quick reflections. How did you guys think last week went?
I think we could have researched some topics a bit better. That's the one takeaway I took away, that some answers I wasn't too sure of because I'd literally sort of prepared by looking at a page and thought, I know everything on this. And that didn't work out.
Yeah, maybe we had too much to talk about and got too far off course, you know. But otherwise, it went pretty well for a first timer.
Yeah, all things considered, I was pretty happy. And we forgot to mention last time that our intro, which we just played then, was provided by Expander.
And the outro too.
And the outro, yeah. We've had a few people asking for an RSS feed for the cast. We're looking into what we can do to make that happen for people. It'd be nice to get some feedback on whether people want an RSS feed that will give them an announcement when the cast goes live, or when the archive is up.
I think it's if people are going to listen live on the Mumble, then they might as well just have an RSS of previous episodes. And certainly for the amount of podcasts I listen to, just having that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Feedback's welcome.
Swordfisher, did you want to talk about your Edomondo group?
Yeah, Endomondo, not Edward Mondo or
Sorry.
whatever you want to call it. For those who don't know what Endomondo is, it's a statistical physical workout comparison site, if you want. It basically tracks all your workouts. If you bike a lot, if you run a lot, if you just lift some iron sometimes. I just made the group on Endomondo so we could do some physical things instead of just playing games and being better at Team Fortress.
So it sort of seems like it's a kind of social networking fitness thing.
Yeah, you might call it that. I just like it because of statistics. You know, you can see your previous workouts and how well you did, and if you beat any previous records, your best 1K running or cycling in sports.
Yeah, cool.
If you're into that kind of stuff, and if we have enough participants, I'll start creating some events for that too.
So going back a little bit, we now have the archive for episode 1 up, which I think went up last week, was it?
I can't entirely remember.
Tuesday last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got show notes there, complete list of links and things. We've got that downloadable in a variety of formats. Do you recall what we've got, Swordfisher?
Yeah, we got a MP3, FLAC or fully lossless audio codec, and the OGG.
And the OGG is embedded in the site, so you can listen to it through your browser if that's exciting.
Yeah, we got some HLM5 audio tags.
Woohoo!
Yay.
I will give a recap of the events that we've had since last cast. The Left 4 Dead 2 event seemed to go pretty well. Had a bit of fun playing with John and Swordfisher.
Did I play Left 4 Dead 2?
Oh, hang on, no, you didn't play. I just played with John and a couple others.
I played with a couple of the other guys from the community.
I had to duck out early because of Game Club.
Whenever I play Left 4 Dead, it reminds me that I don't hate killing floor as much, because some of those end chapters are really hard.
Depends upon what difficulty you're playing it on. I mean, if you just want to feel powerful and mow down zombies, there's nothing wrong with easy.
Well, we're on normal, and to me, normal should be, you can get through this only sweating slightly. Maybe I just suck.
That's highly likely.
I think the balance of Left 4 Dead 2 is perhaps not scaled towards beginners as far as normal goes.
How is it compared to Left 4 Dead 1? The difficulty?
It's pretty close to similar.
Okay. Because I got over courageous when I tried the first one. I just Yeah, why not try expert? And I was stuck in that hospital level for 6 hours until I just finally gave up and threw my joystick away.
So we also had a killing floor event, which I didn't attend. How'd that go, guys?
Lots of death again. Pretty much like the Left 4 Dead event. We got to the end boss, the Patriarch, and he just slaughtered us.
Nice. And Swordfisher, we had another Amnesia event as well.
Yeah, we did. It went quite great. Actually, we had a bit more players who played on my save game.
Yeah, fantastic.
Apparently, yeah, it was pretty great. Apparently, I loaded the wrong save game myself, so everyone was ahead of me.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I was playing the same stuff again, running around in the library. But I had fun, and everyone else had fun, so that was the point of it.
Yeah, great. Is there going to be a third session as well?
Yeah, I was planning to this week, but I had a lot of work stuff to do, so I'll probably put one up later to be decided, I guess.
Cool.
Okay, so what events do we have coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Well, on the 15th, we have Dungeon Defenders. The week after that, on the 22nd, we have Team Fortress. On the 29th, we have Counter-Strike Source. And then we're moving into the next month. But we're going through the same schedule, more or less. Playing back Left 4 Dead 2 and Team Fortress because they are the most popular ones. And then I usually throw in another FPS or two meanwhile.
So when we do one-off events like Amnesia, do we tend to target a weekday for that? Because you've done Wednesdays, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. It was mostly to attract Europeans instead of everyone.
Might be cool to look towards having a couple of the Humble Bundle titles that were multiplayer, do some events based on those before we get too far out from the close of the bundle, like Oil Rush and Awesome Noughts.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me if you wanted to play some more indie titles or smaller titles than FPS titles like Counter-Strike Source and whatnot. And I'd be pretty happy to set them up if someone contacted me either on Twitter or RSC, or send an email to cast@steamlug.org. Then I'll try to add some more events.
Yeah, and I think we've got a discussion thread in the Steam group as well.
Yes, we do.
So moving on to Steam and Valve news, something I found pretty interesting was that the Steam package is in the Debian testing repository.
Which is now called Jesse? Or?
Yeah. So for anybody not aware, the Debian releases are named after all of the characters from Toy Story.
Oh, I was thinking about Pokemon. Jesse and James and Team Rocket and all that.
So which character's Squeezy?
He's a squeezy toy.
I never twigged those were the names.
Yeah, it's subtle. That's why Sid is testing, because it's always kind of slightly broken.
Ah.
Yeah. That's the creepy, disturbed kid next door.
Do they have a branch called Buzz?
No, not yet, I don't think. Oh, maybe they did.
Maybe it's too far out.
No, they're alphabetical, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ulik said Buzz was 1.1. I don't know if it's true or he's making fun. Oh, 1.1 was Buzz.
He didn't lie.
You never lies.
Well, how about that?
But yeah, that's kind of interesting to see. So far as I'm aware, that's the first major distro that's popped it in its repos. Unless Ubuntu has it, I haven't actually looked. And it looks like Ubuntu does have it.
Oh, okay. I never thought of Debian as a version-based distro. Maybe it's because I've always used SID.
Yeah, well, SID ends up being sort of rolling release meta distro thingy.
Yeah, that's more my style.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see that a very kind of free software oriented distro has popped it into its non-free repositories.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So, John, any notable GitHub activity that we've recently seen?
There's pretty much nothing. I do have an update on what I mentioned last episode. Half-Life 2 and Portal have had updates that should have fixed the autosave bug that we asked everyone to help test.
Thanks to everybody who did there.
Yes, thank you for that. And of course, now I have to ask everyone that did test to help test that it's been fixed.
Yay!
But that's about it. I'm sure I'll have lots of updates next episode.
Now the May stats for the Steam hardware and software survey are up. I've been really slack and haven't put a group news post up about it yet. One fairly prominent change is that the actual versions, operating system versions, have been condensed back down. So now we only see, I think, 3 or 4, maybe 3 different distinct Linux flavors. Hoping that soon they'll push Linux stats out into their own section, like Windows and Mac already have, rather than bundling us in with the Windows stuff.
And at the same time, get rid of Flash off that ghastly page.
Oh, I know, right? Would be great to see something more interesting, like say D3 used. Some SVG graphs would be really nice.
Or nothing.
Or just not to constantly ask for each Flash object that can't load, because just to get the text information in Firefox, for me, it pesters like 12 times or something.
Yeah, same here.
But I would love to see that updated with some nice, HTML5 graphs or something.
I was wondering if there's any privacy concerns if Steam actually took the information of your operation system every time you logged in and collected that data, instead of having a pop-up, I agree to submit my information.
I like that the survey is opt-in. It's always been opt-in, but it used to prompt Steam once a month. It doesn't do that anymore.
I've had Steam for about 10 years now, and I've never ever seen that pop up.
Really?
I've never seen the hardware survey either.
Until July 2010, it was meant to prompt everyone. I wonder whether or not, because they did say they had a bug where if you declined to participate, it would never prompt you again. So is it possible that maybe an early one sort of exposed you to that bug?
I wonder if they could set it up like Android is, so if you use the client as normal and you're just in your library, it wouldn't communicate anything. But if you went over to the store inside the client, it would post your OS to them. So at least they'd get a working average of what users are buying stuff for.
I imagine that they also collect user agent stats for your HTTP visits.
Yeah, but that probably isn't available anywhere.
No.
That would be a nice statistic to ask them to put up.
Yeah, we might have a chat and see if we can get some info on that. That'd be kind of interesting. Overall, it doesn't look like the Linux usage has shifted much. We've seen a new version of Ubuntu come out, which has eaten into the old version's numbers. But with the other category combined, again now it's difficult to see how much fluctuation there is between the less prominent distros. But on the whole, it seems like we're holding pretty steady, same as last month.
Which is good to know.
Yeah. And the update that John mentioned to Portal, was it yesterday or the day before, also included the apparently I haven't had a chance to check myself, but it looks like it's included some SDK stuff, which is exciting.
And we're talking about SDK for Linux, right?
It seems that way, yeah.
Okay.
Which is something that it sounded like might not be coming, and I recall being very disappointed when I heard that. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully have time to check that out over the weekend. You guys got anything to add on the Steam Valve news front?
Not really.
There haven't really been any notable client updates recently. It's most of the recent ones have sort of seemed to focus mostly on Mac stuff.
Jeez, did you want to talk about the indie bundle?
Yeah, so we had the Humble Bundle 8 since last time we came together. We also have had the Humble weekly sale for Serious Sam, which included Serious Sam 3 natively. You could get Serious Sam 1 and 2 to run with the DRM-free versions of the games using the beta installers for those. And we also have seen the Humble Weekly sale for the 11-bit games, which includes a couple of extra Anomaly titles and some other bits and pieces by those guys. Having a look at the stats, Humble Indie Bundle 8 had 6.31% Linux purchases and 9.65% Linux payments, which is nice. The average Linux payment was $8.96, which is $3.13 over the cross-platform average. So it's kind of on par with what we've seen in previous indie bundles.
What are the real values for Linux purchases?
28,000.
Well, that's gone up a bit, hasn't it? Because for the first one it was 21k or something.
It's about on par with previous ones. So the Humble Indie Bundle 7 was 27,000, Humble Indie Bundle 6 was 30,000.
Okay.
The Humble Indie Bundle V, I think, has been the best performing one so far as Linux purchases go, and that was 41,000.
What was included in that?
Psychonauts, Sword and Sorcery, Limbo. I think Bastion was in there as well, was it?
Those are all brilliant titles, no wonder.
It's a very strong lineup. But yeah, so interesting thing about the Humble Indie Bundle 8 was that it included another Codeweavers port, which didn't seem to get anywhere near as much bad feedback because that title was also being worked on at the same time by Ryan Gordon, or Iculus as we know him, who was providing a native version of Dear Esther, which is the first DRM-free source title that I'm aware of for Linux. And while I don't think that's on Steam yet, the native version is downloadable from people's Humble Bundle pages and seems to work fairly well. John, did you want to mention Little Inferno?
Yes, I just wanted to drop in the news that it has been added now. If anyone had got missing executable errors when they tried to install it, it's now live.
Live in Steam?
Yeah.
Yes, on Steam, sorry.
Okay.
It's been live on the Humble page since the sale started.
What about the Serious Sam bundle? Cheese?
Yeah, so the people may have been a little bit disappointed that that the Serious Sam 1 and 2 weren't available natively, but there was a news post on gamingonlinux.com which had a quote for them talking about why.
And why was it?
I'm just looking it up. So the quote is: "The current situation is that our new Serious Engine 3.5 works on Linux, while the HD games are on an older version 3.0, which lacks Linux support. SS2 works on even older tech. What is realistic is that once Serious Sam 4 is out, HD also gets a Linux version on or after release, while Serious Sam 2 gets a Linux if we execute the idea on doing an SS2 remake, where the remake would be on Linux. There are existing beta versions of the classic versions in Serious Sam 2, but there are apparently issues with GameSpot that prevented them from wanting to ship that with the bundle."
I like Crow Team.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, they're pretty pro Linux.
They were very open in the beta, weren't they? The limited beta, that
Yeah.
is. And they communicated with us quite well, and they got good feedback.
Yeah, I once made a blog post about the Steam tools, or the dedicated servers for Steam for Linux, and I'm a bit ashamed about it because I said that their dedicated server wasn't that good. I actually said it was bad. And the CTO of Crow Team contacted me and asked what they could do to make it better.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I was impressed.
I mean, I've sent them a couple of emails just to sort of coordinate some bugs and the rest, and they've been really open about everything. I really like them as a company.
Yeah.
Now I feel left out. I haven't talked to them at all.
Oh, send them an email.
I will.
I'd also like to thank Liam for that Gaming on Linux post, because he contacted them and got it all sorted.
Yes. And Liam does that from time to time. There are a few good posts on Gaming on Linux with new quotes from developers.
That's always nice.
So I noticed that the current Indie Royale bundle, the Arclight bundle, has just received, just received, a Linux title, which is the Great Permutator, which I know nothing about.
No, I don't know of that title either.
It's nice to see, I guess. Feels very outweighed by the Windows-only titles, but given that the majority of those are from one particular franchise or one game with sequels and expansions, it's not quite as drowned out as it seems.
Oh, they are on Greenlight too,
Yes, they're on Greenlight.
if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
But they only mentioned a PC as a platform, but they state later in the post that they're porting the game for Linux and Mac.
Yeah, okay.
Is it Unity then?
Let me check.
Or well, they assume it's going to be an easy port?
It appears to use a custom build engine, according to their IndieDB page.
Okay.
And it looks like...
Is it a puzzler?
Yeah, it looks to be.
It looks kind of cool.
So Trying to got some additional content early last week I think it was, which is the Wii U exclusive stuff, minus a couple of Nintendo specific bits and pieces. But yeah, there's an extra level called the Dwarven Caverns, I think it is, which you can unlock if you collect all of the picture unlocks from the first 5 levels of the Goblin Menace campaign. Isn't that nice and convoluted?
Wow. I don't think I'm going to be playing that extra content for a bit then.
They're not too hard to grab, especially subsequent playthroughs. When you're familiar with the level, it's easier to spot them. But there are a couple of really tricky ones which I had to sort out. One other thing which I should probably mention, because whilst chasing one of those pictures, I discovered that you needed to use one of the magnetic skills to access that, and it appears that the Linux version doesn't have a default key binding for that, which has caused confusion for many Linux users that I've talked to.
But at least you can hang around and unlock the trading cards that has been released for Trine 2.
I was just going to get onto that, Swordfisher. Yes, they just added trading cards to Trine 2.
I like that I was playing it last week and people are saying, "Oh, are you idling to get cards?" I'm like, no, I just like the game.
I've had 2 people message me about different games for that. I wonder if it's going to be a new thing where everyone's going to assume you're just grinding. You know, like sitting in TF2, they must think you're idling or something.
It kind of seems like it's already at that point, you know. Personally, I'm a little bit surprised at how excited people are about it, but, you know, whatever makes people happy, I guess.
Oh, it's awesome. You can collect stuff and then you can trade with your friends, and I like it.
One of the changes coming up next week, is it next week or in the future? They're adding bundles into the trading card beta.
Yeah.
Card bundles? Or game bundles?
You know, in the last podcast we discussed it was limited to half the amount of cards you could get per game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're adding it now so that you can get additional drops over time. They didn't clarify how exactly that was happening, but it sounds like for people who are dedicated to games, you'll get additional drops.
Yeah. If you're a collector of games, you might get additional drops. Also, they talked about booster packs. If you played any collectible card game, you'll know a booster is multiple cards with a chance of rare stuff, you know.
Speaking of rare stuff, you managed to get a foil, didn't you, Swordfisher?
Yeah, I did. And it was for FTL, Faster Than Light, that's it.
I love that game.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. But I got a foil card, and I was super excited. Looked into the marketplace, and it sold for 30 euro. I didn't sell it though. I then checked in next morning, and the price was down to 3 euros. So
that's 10 games there that you just threw away.
yeah, I own most of the Linux games anyway, so meh.
For anyone that's been playing PC games for a long time, you'll know a fairly popular game called Championship Manager that started out in the late 90s. They've announced that Football Manager 2014 is coming to Linux, which is pretty exciting because it's a big title.
It's nice to see all those niche titles like Euro Truck Simulator and Football Manager coming to Linux.
Oh, speaking about Serious Sam, going back for 1 second, that article that we were just quoting actually is geared towards talking about Serious Sam 4, which has confirmed Linux support when it's finished. Sorry to derail things there.
That's okay. I was just going to tell Swordfish Championship Manager isn't as niche as he thinks. It's pretty big in the UK, I know that.
Yeah, but the UK is pretty small in the world.
It's cool, it's cool.
I have to say I don't know anybody who plays any kind of sport management simulators. But I'm sure they're fun for people who enjoy them. And it's totally okay to enjoy them.
Right, so Swordfisher, you're going to talk about Puff.
Yeah, I think it's called Arcado or Kato, I don't know. They had a game they weren't going to release because the company shut down, but the developers thought they wanted to share the game anyway. So they have announced they're going to release it at some point. Basically, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up, old school style, like back when you played Amiga and played all those side-scrolling beat 'em up games.
Back?
Yeah,
I still play my Amiga.
I'm very sorry.
I love it. It's awesome.
It's got that retro feel. I couldn't find any videos for it that seemed to capture the joy of the game, but the screenshots look pretty neat. It reminded me a bit about Shank too, but you know, it's pretty easy to remind of game with the same style. And also the publisher is the same publishers as Puddle. If anyone played that.
I've played a little of that. That's a fun game.
Yeah, until it gets stuck in a pretty annoying level. And you just want all your liquids to come into the vial.
Poor liquids.
Yeah.
So, Drifter, a 2.5D space trading game, if you want to call it that, is now available for pre-order and has Linux pre-release builds. I've had a little bit of a play around with that. Still kind of rough around the edges, but looks like it's going to be fun.
I hadn't had a chance to look into it though. Isn't it a simulator?
If you want to call it that way, the focus of the game is, buying cargo and selling cargo, doing a few small missions, blowing up random traders that you come across and stealing their stuff.
Oh, great.
Probably not really what you'd call a sim from the the spaceship flying aspect, but like a market simulator, you could call it that.
The game does look really good though. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So I was going to mention on Twitter earlier, Colin Northway, the developer of Incredipede, was looking for Linux testers. I emailed him and sadly didn't make it. He said that there's some news coming on this Monday, which would be the 17th.
Is that likely to be released, do you think?
I don't know.
Yulik just mentioned it uses Air, Adobe Air, and I have my feelings towards that, but if it works, it works.
I follow the McPixel developer on Twitter. I can't say his name. It's but he's been
starts with S.
Yes, Swarovski or something. He's been looking at trying to port McPixel to Android, and only some devices are supported. Air needs to die as well as Flash, frankly.
Well, Air is already dead on Linux, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sad that that sort of technologies like this are that are discontinued on some platforms are still kind of fairly heavily pushed on others, which kind of locks people into that if they end up choosing that.
Well, I've been without Flash for about 1.5 years now, and I feel pretty great.
Yeah, I don't miss it at all, really, to be honest.
It's pretty neat that all those ads don't begin singing for you or whatever they do.
Yep.
So with all the news of new consoles this week, I thought I'd drop a link by everyone. Dell, or rather Alienware, has put out a console-like PC. It's running Intel's new Haswell chip. It's pretty expensive. It's nearly double the PS4, but it's got a fairly decent NVIDIA graphics card in it, and it should run Linux pretty well, ignoring the fact it's got Optimus, but that's getting better, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. And I thought people might be interested with the link.
So are they, do we know if they're planning to promote or ship Linux at all?
There is absolutely nothing on their site about it beyond Windows 7, but it's the sort of thing that Steam Big Picture would do really well on. I just don't know if people would want to swap out Linux.
It looks pretty neat though.
Oh yeah, it's damn sexy.
Yeah.
It is reasonably big though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit bigger than the PS3, isn't it?
It looks a bit taller than Xbox One.
Yeah, but one can hope the airflow is better. So.
You like his mentioning Alienware make the X51.
Yeah, this is the small form factor version, right?
And that was more of a desktop machine, was it?
Yeah. All right. I stumbled upon an article from Root Gamer. The Verdun developers said that it is so easy to port your game to Linux nowadays that there is really no reason why you should not do it. And
it's quite a statement.
Yeah, yes, it is. And I had to read that article, and they're using Unity, so it kind of explains a bit.
Yeah, the porting work's all been done already for Unity.
Yeah, exactly. They have a export to Linux button. I don't know if that works every time or whatnot. But I was thinking about middleware, like a Flip-it-AG-by-Bo once said, more than once. Usually it's the middleware that's making all the problems.
Yeah, and a bit like Flash and Air, people enter into these things without sort of broader awareness of what the larger context is that they're working in, and come up against hurdles when they start to look at other platforms.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a point for developers who use Unity and don't pack in other middleware. Linux support is very accessible, and there's not really a lot of reason why you would want to not look into it.
Besides, you don't want to support that platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are all fiddlers. We're gonna make it work anyway.
Exactly.
Or someone is going to and then post a link on Twitter or Reddit or somewhere.
So, touching on Wine briefly, the 1.6 release has had its second release candidate. This is a new minor version for Wine, first one in a fair while. It has quite a number of fixes, which I probably won't go all the way into, but they're in code freeze now, and I think we can expect to see an actual 1.6 release soon. Moving on to crowdfunding news. Who wants to make a start on that?
You just go ahead, Cheese.
So the Maker's Eden is a crowdfunding campaign for a first-person point-and-click sci-fi noir title, which people seem kind of excited about. I haven't looked at the campaign page in a little while, but they seem to be doing well last time I looked.
Yeah, $1,200 out of 10,000.
Well, they've still got over a month left. But these guys are planning to be DRM free and support Linux from the get-go, which is nice. Anybody else want to say anything about the Maker's Eden?
I saw it. It's a noir adventure game. I'll see what it turns out like.
It can be hard to tell from the pictures for games this early on, but it seems like the guys are doing interesting things.
So much of that is going to depend on mood and the writing that I can't tell as an outsider, and that kind of makes me a bit reluctant.
Yeah, that's understandable, and that's really those sorts of concerns are just inherently a part of crowdfunding campaigns, I think. But I'm looking forward to seeing where they go, and their art style's nice and interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, you added this Double Fine Kickstarter, so did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so Double Fine have launched a second crowdfunding campaign. This time, rather than being headed by Tim Schafer, the fairly well-recognised and revered industry figure, one of Double Fine's other game designers is heading up a project called Massive Chalice, which is a turn-based tactical strategy game with a sort of medieval setting and some generational game mechanics. So as you play, your warriors die, and their legacy is to sort of pass on relics to the next generation, who take some of their experience with them and sort of grow and stuff over time. It's kind of exciting, and Brad's got a very huge smile that is very hard to resist.
Now that's already been successfully funded, hasn't it?
Yeah, within the first week.
Okay. And you heard they recently got Indie Fund backing for 2 more titles.
Yes, and from what I understand, these titles that they've received additional funding for are not titles that we know about.
So they currently have 4 games on the go, or do we know if they've got a 5th?
Keep going. So they've got the Double Fine Adventure, or Broken Age, which was their first crowdfunding campaign. They've got Massive Chalice happening at the moment, which is still very, very early. Haven't even started pre-production yet. Still just, bouncing ideas around. There is Drop Chord, which is coming out, I think, within the next couple of months.
That's an iOS title, isn't it?
I think that's planned to be PC.
Was it?
Yeah, it's going to use the Leap Motion controller. So at the moment they only list Windows and macOS, but I'm under the impression that they're targeting Linux with that as well.
Is that just for people that have the Leap controller?
I'm not certain. I imagine it probably is, because it's all kind of gesture based and what have you, so it needs some kind of motion control interface. Whether or not it's able to get working with other things, it remains to be seen. But it'll be interesting to see.
Right, so getting on to the next thing in the list, Son of Nor, which we mentioned last cast, is successfully funded. Yay.
Yeah, they scraped just over their goal.
So lucky.
But we see that a little bit for projects that are very close to their goal. Someone comes in at the last second, just tips them over.
Yeah, there's always a little... I mean, if you're within a good few percent, then it pretty much always happens, doesn't it? I haven't seen someone fall so short by a couple of pounds.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody come that close. But it's good to see that they were able to push forward, and hopefully that'll be an interesting title. So the creators of the Neverhood have come back together to make a new claymation point-and-click game, which is called Armikrog, and that is currently being run on Kickstarter. They need a fair bit more support to get to where they want to go. They need another 400,000 within the next 12 days, which I'm hoping they'll make. Neverhood was a really underrated game, and it would be really nice to see it, this spiritual successor, get realized. The creator also was a person who came up with Earthworm Jim, for people familiar with that.
They always come up with the neatest of art styles.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so this is going to support Linux from day zero, as far as I'm aware. I'm kind of excited about that one. I've got a few friends in the Game Club community who are very excited to see this reach its target. Looking at other crowdfunding campaigns, Battleworld Chronos has just moved into alpha. This first version is Windows only, but apparently the next version and all subsequent versions will be supporting Linux, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Race the Sun has been ploughing through beta releases, and they're expecting to have a final release this month, which will also be fun. I've been playing around with the beta for that. There are a couple of larger crowdfunding campaigns from the last year and a bit which have appeared on Steam Early Access, most notably Planetary Annihilation, which I notice I'm having a bit of trouble finding now. Has that been removed? You guys notice that?
Maybe they took it down because it was so high in price that people started going crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, well, wasn't it the same price as their big supporter pack on Kickstarter?
Yeah, and I don't know, to me it seems fair enough if they only want people who are interested in paying extra to support development. They're planning to drop the price at release down to $40, but during the early part of the game, early part of this pre-release phase, they want to keep the price up. Seems fair enough to me.
Yeah, I think they should have avoided that, but yeah.
I probably wouldn't have put it on Steam, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they should have waited until they had a more, common price. But I think the price now includes every thing in the Galactic Edition, I think it was called.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't they mention somewhere that backers had asked for them to put it on sale so that a couple more could get in or something?
I've heard that too. I don't have any sources for it though.
I was going to say, just one thing to sort of keep in mind when looking at this is that this title isn't on Steam yet. This title is on Steam Early Access. And it's worth putting a difference there, or putting some kind of, using that as an indicator that this is not considered to be ready for general availability. It's really for people who want to get in on the ground floor and support development of the game and observe development of the game.
Yeah, the response from the community was not just crazy though.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I know the price is high, but just then don't buy it.
And when we mention the community, we don't just mean Linux, we mean the gaming community.
Yes.
Twitter's been fairly busy today as well, with people talking about it.
Yeah, before people run out and pick up the early access versions, worth being aware that it currently doesn't support Linux. Linux support and Mac support is high on their priority list, but it hasn't been added yet.
And the isometric game, Acanero, maybe?
Yeah,
Acanero?
another crowdfunding campaign.
Now, this was American McGee, wasn't it?
Yes, I was trying to remember his name, that's why I wasn't saying anything.
For anyone that doesn't know, he did Alice. That's probably his most famous title.
Yeah.
I'm a bit sad that the style of Acanero is not. It's a bit cartoonish, and I don't like that when I'm playing RPGs. Otherwise, I would have grabbed it. Looks pretty neat though.
Yeah, I was considering backing this one, but didn't really get a chance, so I might pick it up with the early access thing. It's interesting that Acanero shows up in a search on the Steam store, but Planetary Annihilation doesn't.
It'll probably be in a bundle at some point.
I don't know, should we always wait on games to be released in bundles? Probably not.
Oh no, not at all.
I don't. I like to give developers more money and support them directly when I can.
It's one of those games that I probably not gonna buy it at full price because I'm not gonna play it that much. That's just me being a dick.
Do I bleep that out?
I think we probably need a sound effect for that. If Xpander gets it to me, then I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
Should get some awesome cartoony boing sound.
Can we just use Smeg instead?
I was going to say flowers, but yeah, that'll do.
Flowers?
Yeah.
Sounds more like a safe word.
Wow.
Okay, and moving on.
That's going to be a future joke, I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, running gag.
One last thing. I want to talk about Life of Pixel, and not the game itself, but how the developers handled it, because they weren't successfully funded. I think they got 1,300 out of 10,000 pounds, which is sad. But they said they wanted to continue the development on the game and release it at some point late in the future, which is something we talked about last time. That I like about crowdfunding games, crowdfunding stuff, is that when you make sure you're gonna release the game no matter what, just that if you participate in the crowdfunding, you get the game faster, or you get better content and whatnot.
Exactly, yeah.
And to me, that's what the crowdfunding is about. It's having the community make the game better by giving something to something that's already gonna happen, you know.
I think also it's a valuable aspect is when it allows the community to help something get made that might otherwise not be getting made. But it's always really nice to see that extra commitment.
Yeah, exactly. It's about commitment, because sometimes I feel like when they start a crowdfunding campaign, it doesn't go successfully, and then just drop it.
I think that most people who have campaigns that they're running are kind of invested in their projects and do end up pursuing them anyway, and that's really nice. And look at I think Waveform had a crowdfunding campaign that didn't go so well, but it's the game itself has done well.
Yeah,
and we've got it on Linux. Yay!
All right.
Just having a quick look through the new releases on Steam before we wrap up. I see that Lugaru HD is up, which I spotted Eculus mentioning on Twitter a little while back. Obviously the Trine 2 content that we mentioned earlier, Little Inferno, which we also mentioned earlier, some more Dungeon Defenders content, and some Awesome Knots stuff. Oh yes, and as Meklu says, Lugaru HD uses SDL2 now, which is exciting.
Awesome.
Which we should all get excited for, yeah.
Yeah. Gonna get my flower on.
Nice. Do we really want to end on that note?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard some rumors about free DLC for Dungeon Defenders, and I tried to install it, but it kept saying that I already had it, and I just couldn't comprehend what it said to me, so I just kept clicking play game, play game, play game. And I was getting pretty pissed that it was getting pretty flowered. I was getting pretty flowered that it didn't work. Yeah.
Unless we have anything else to cover, we might wrap up.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for listening. It's been a much shorter than last time, but still a little bit longer than our target running length.
Yeah.
We're aiming towards a fortnightly schedule still, I think. So hopefully we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Hopefully. So thanks for joining, and we'll take care of your flowers.
Bye everyone.